Hey everybody, welcome back to another tutorial video, and today I'll be showing you how I made my Crescent Cottage build. I'll be going through my methods in a more detailed manner, and hopefully you can follow along if you want to make something like this yourself. Let's hop into it. You're going to want to be on a server that has World Edit and Voxel Sniper to do this. You can do it by hand if you want, but it's going to be way more tedious and a lot of it's not going to apply to you. To skip ahead to the portion on the house, you can click the chapters in the description. The main shape is shown here in emerald blocks, and I'll put the dimensions on the screen for you. If you have trouble making circles, check out this online tool to help. Once I have the outline done, I'll fill it in with diamond blocks and stack it forward. Stack is a world edit command, and I use it by selecting the area that I want stacked, looking in the direction I want it to stack to, and doing the command //stack space 6 space -a. 6 is the number of times that I want my selection to stack, and -a just stops the air blocks from my original selection from being stacked. Then I'll copy and flip these diamond blocks to the other side. And now we've got a rough shape. To knock down these sharp corners and make the moon a bit more organic, I'll use the blend ball brush from Voxel Sniper. To get this brush, get an arrow and hold it in your hand. Use the command /b space bb. This sets it to blend ball. Use /b space 2 to set the size to 2. And then just go through and aim for the corners to round out the shape. The amount of smoothing is fairly subjective, but just go until you like the look of it. I want there to be some grass on this moon, but I spent so much time smoothing. I don't want the diamond blocks from my moon to be changed. Instead of doing this by hand, I can create another layer of blocks on top of them with the overlay command from World Edit. To use this command, select the area you want to be overlaid and do the command //overlay space emerald _ block. This makes it so every solid block in your selection gets an emerald block on top of it. After I'm satisfied with my moon shape, I'll start blocking out the house with placeholder blocks. I usually will take inspiration for houses from some reference images, and I'll put the one for this house on the screen. I don't normally try to make a direct copy of the reference, but it's more of just a catalyst to get me going. After a little bit, I will just start to make it my own. And a command I used a lot on this build specifically was the /walls command. If you haven't used this, it's really simple. You select your two positions of the area that you want your structure to have, and then type in /walls space blue _ wool, or whatever material you want. This makes it so 4 walls appear on each side of your selection, but the interior is hollow. I changed up my normal method for this roof. Instead of using loft from Archeon, I'll use the stack command again. I create the main shape of my roof, select the 2 points of the area that I want stacked, look into the direction I want it stacked to, and do the command //stack space 8 space -a. And once I'm happy with it, I'll just flip it to the other side. I'll continue this pattern to block out the rest of the structure. I'll go a little slower if you want to follow along. And there we go. I like that shape. In this stage, don't get too caught up in making it completely perfect. I catch myself doing that quite a lot, but remember that this is supposed to be a really rough guideline to what you want your build to be. You can always change it up in detailing. When I texture, I try to break up my color palettes into 4 categories: terrain, walls, trim, and roof. And you've seen this in my other videos. Before I even start changing up my placeholder blocks, I'll lay out my palettes for each of these categories. Don't lay out your detailing blocks just yet. These should only be full blocks to establish color. Once I have the palettes established, I'll start texturing. I'll hold a shovel in my hand and create my brush for the moon using the command //br sphere strips jungle wood 2. And I'll mask it to diamond blocks with the command /mask diamond block. Since this is the darkest color in our terrain palette, I'm painting it where I think the shadows would be. When I'm done with the first color, I'll transition to the next block in the gradient, which is stripped oak wood. I'll start the switch to a lighter color by creating a transition brush composed of stripped jungle and stripped oak. The command is /material space 30% stripped jungle wood, comma 70% stripped oak wood. I'll go through and then I'll paint only the edges of where the stripped jungle wood is, and it's just enough to show some mixing between the two blocks. After I've outlined the entire area with that transition, I'll move on to a brush with 100% stripped oak wood. Then, I'll continue this pattern, moving through all the blocks in my gradient until I've textured all of the diamond blocks. And I'll do this for the rest of the categories with this same exact method. I'll texture the walls by hand since it's a small area, but the rest I'll do with brushes. If you want to know more about texturing and world edit brushes, you can check out my other tutorials. If you want some more inspiration or examples on color usage, I'd recommend checking out Snarple on Instagram. They are the authority on color palette building and execute it far better than I ever could. You can also check them out on TikTok and YouTube, and the links are going to be in the description. Now that I've got the colors down, it's time to start detailing. Before you touch anything, make sure that you change the gravity affected blocks that you painted earlier. Here, I have some cyan concrete powder in my roof gradient. If I broke one, they would all update and fall, which is a huge pain to replace. To prevent this, I'll simply select the entire area and do / replace cyan concrete powder space red wool. And red wool is just going to be our placeholder block while we're working. We'll change it back at the end. I'll start by texturing the chimneys and adding some walls to make them feel a little less blocky. In general, focus on knocking out harsh corners and adding depth to large flat surfaces. That's the main goal of detailing. Trim is a very time-intensive part of detailing, specifically on the roof. Stairs, slabs, and trapdoors are your best friends here. Try to knock out that full block transition that you see here, and that will give it a more continuous look to the trim. If it looks a little strange right after you finish it, remember to take a step back and see how it looks from a distance. Once you're happy with one side, select the trim, stand on the center point of the roof, do / copy, look in the direction you want it to flip to, do / flip, and / paste -A. To make the windows for this build, I'll take a trick I learned from both Paintergigi and Swordself. Make sure to check both of them out, links are in the description. Put black concrete behind a wall of scaffolding, and then you can use a light brush or just light blocks to make it light up. To make a light brush, you can just take your shovel in your hand and do / BR sphere light 1, and 1's just the size. And then you can do /mask 0 to mask it to air. The roof looks a little blocky, so I'll smooth it out here with some stairs and slabs. There's no exact science to this, it just comes down to personal preference. I'll do this with the rest of the build as well, adding little details where I feel it's a bit bland. Another trick I learned from Swordself and Painter is using lecterns for trim. If you take a lectern and you place it so it's facing away from the viewer, it adds a nice effect with a lot of depth. Then, some final details on the chimneys, and the structure looks pretty much complete. To make a build feel more alive and give it some atmosphere, make sure you put in some foliage. I'll start by pasting in one of my spruce tree schematics. I just use the same tree and rotate and paste it multiple times. It saves time and you can be a lot more creative with it. Pasting them at different heights and even stacking them on top of each other can give the illusion of different trees. And last but not least is a foliage brush. This is like to imitate ivy or any other miscellaneous shrubbery, so I'll put the brush I used on the screen and in the description if you want to use it yourself. You can just copy and paste it into your command line. I'll mask it to air with /mask 0, and I'll go around and brush it on where I see fit. And after that, the build is pretty much complete. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. I hope that this format was helpful and you learned a little bit. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this video and any suggestions for new videos. I'm still trying to define my style on YouTube, and it'd be great to hear some of your opinions. I'm trying to up the quality and focusing more on editing, got a new microphone and everything. So hopefully that is increasing your enjoyment. And if you liked it, then don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Have fun. Good luck. Have a good day. Bye.